James Lupton for Pro Boxing Fans. Delighted to be joined today with Keith Hunter. How are you doing, Keith?
I'm good. I'm good. How about yourself?
Very good, thank you. Very good. A few things have happened since we last met. We've been talking since February back in Vegas there. First of all, very recently we saw you training with Floyd Mayweather. Just talk me through that. What was that like, and what's he like as a trainer?
Man, he has his way of teaching his tools, and translating the art to you. I felt like, I've known him a while now. Being growing up around him in his gym when he was active, I seen a different part of his character still attached that got him, to get where he's at now. So now that I see him, the last time, I actually got a chance to sit down and hit pads with him again. This time, I seen that one part of his character is gone now. He's more humble. He's more giving, after retirement. He let kind of that part go, that got him to places. So that was one thing that kind of stood out to me. And I was able to just genuinely, not that you can't before, but I was able to genuinely, sit down for a more truer moment with him. And man, just for a split second, it was dope.
You say that something in him had changed from when he was a fighter. Now, I saw somebody say on social media, they said it to me actually, about Floyd becoming a trainer. They felt that he wouldn't make a good trainer because he was selfish as a fighter. Is that what he's now cut out, that selfishness and that sort of that drive to succeed as a fighter, I suppose?
No, I think it depends on each individual person, whether you're a fighter or not. It just depends on how much love you have for the game. And for Floyd specifically, since he was at such a high pinnacle, I think he's beneficial to any fighter. And he truly is giving a part of his energy towards, sitting down with people and giving them and teaching them. So when I sat down with him, one of my things I learned from my uncle is you can learn something from everybody, even a dumb motherfucker. You can learn what not to do. But with Floyd, on the other hand, if you sit down, the knowledge is priceless. You just got to open yourself up to it. Like I said, he put parts of his character down, to sit down with people, to be able to train people. So you got to respect that, and I appreciate Floyd for that.
Obviously, we, myself and anybody else really outside of the gym don't see what goes on inside that gym. We don't see what Floyd is like. He's saying that he sits you down. Does he do that with everybody? Does he sit down? Does he mentor you? Does he give you advice outside of the ring as well as when you're on the pads and things like that?
Again, I think at this moment in time in his life, he's spreading his energy to so many more people where he wasn't before, and he's spreading his energy so thin. Because even though I was working with him, he was working with people who just wasn't really fighters in there. They just was more just fans, and he was actually teaching them. So he's actually really to give a part of yourself to somebody who's not really going to go or doesn't have plans and trying to get a world title, just that little gesture right there, he sat down and still was working mitts with just random people. So, I think that's, man, people can say whatever they want about Floyd, or any fighter that's trying to dedicate themselves to being a trainer, where doesn't matter their accomplishment, again, it just depends on you and how much you want to, have love for the art and just keep teaching it. And man, I see from my sit down personal experiences with Floyd, he's genuinely given parts of himself. And man, anybody got to appreciate it who gets that experience. It helped me for sure.
Is that going to be a permanent fixture going forward, yourself working with Floyd, or is that just a one-off? Or
one more time?
Is that going to be a permanent fixture going forward? Will you be working with Floyd going ahead, or is that a one-off? Is it something because you know
That's a
each
good
other?
question. Good question. I grew up around his gym, so he's always talk to me, not really so much on a business level because he's had so many, not because he doesn't, want to do business with me, but I just feel like, he has so many things on his table. So as I keep seeing him, I definitely will be around Floyd, for a while. That's not the only time you're ever gonna see me around Floyd. I kind of I can't say I can call the man up, but he's known me. I beat three of his fighters back to back, and the love now that he's giving me every time I see him is amazing. So I'm gonna be sticking with him. He has so many blueprints and so many keys to the game that and the love is there. Why not?
Absolutely. And the one thing with Floyd as well is always talk about, is he going to come back? Is he coming out of retirement? Do you think there's another fight in him, or do you feel he's happy setting up his own journey as a trainer?
I think he's doing the trainer aspect just outside of the money because that's what he wants to do. That's just part of him. I'm not saying he wants to turn his whole self into the best trainer in the world, but that's something he was going to do no matter what. And as far as him coming back, man, does he want to come back or does he need to come back? Does he really need to? I don't think he needs to. Does he want to? I think a small percentage of him may still, when you're really high up there and you retire, that itching in you, is always going to be there. So, but I think he will just come back not to compete on a real high level, but just another expedition, and that's about it. He not really gonna jump in there with the real dog for reals. So unless the money was so astronomically big that he was like, all right, I'll do it. But I just don't think so. I don't think so.
You
And I'm
mentioned
not to say he can't or nothing. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
that's okay. You mentioned an exhibition there. Of course, there is a big one coming up over there in Vegas. Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr. What are your thoughts on it?
Man, I know. Interesting. Just number one, just completely interesting. I'm upset it got a little pushed back, but if it happens still, man, I heard how they were gonna fill the cards leading up to that. Man, I think that would just be a good show for boxing. It's at any type of level. And whether you're a spectator or you're a hardcore fan, I think a lot of people really want to see Mike Tyson and Roy get in there. So man, it'll be something to see. I ain't gonna pick sides or nothing, but I just know it'll be something to definitely for the culture.
So you mentioned the undercard. So you got Mike Tyson as an attraction himself, Roy Jones Jr. They're talking of Jake Paul versus Nate Robinson. So you've got the YouTube market, NBA market, but also Badu Jack and Vidal Riley are also confirmed in the undercard. So they also got professional boxers as well. So they've sort of dipped into every market there. Is that a clever strategy?
What was that last part? Is what drastic?
Is that a clever strategy? Sorry.
Yeah, they know outside of boxing whose platform would really bring numbers and do numbers and everything. So the way that they're stacking it, nowadays, I personally respect it because it's all at the end of the day, it's politics. They're really, trying to sell. To where Jake Paul, he actually proved himself in the last fight. He can get down a little bit. He actually did. Nate Robinson, he's so genetically gifted that I think if he hops into any sport, he gonna really do some damage in it. So I'm actually excited to see that. Even though they're both not really, fighters. I think for me personally. A lot of people have so many things to say, but I just, I love boxing. I love the culture. So I definitely, if two grown men want to hash it out on any type of level, the ring is the best place to do it. So.
Absolutely. I want to talk about this past weekend. Rolando Romero A lot of people feel he was very fortunate to get the win. I saw you on your social media Instagram page, a lot of talk about yourself and Rollie. Just start for me, go into that bit of beef there.
Yeah. Go ahead. Where to start?
So it looked like your name was put towards him as an opponent, and it was turned down according to Instagram. Is that true?
It was prior to that fight. My last fight was February 28th, right before the pandemic and the corona hit. And right before my last fight, they were trying to match me and Rolando up. And man, I got the text message that I keep putting out there now. That, you know, his crew ducked me. He didn't directly duck me, but his crew, they know what it is. I bumped into him numerous of times. And the last time I bumped into him, you know, we was working out, and they looked at me, and I was like, yo, you know, give me a shot. You know, hey, how's it going? Are you gonna give me a shot? And he told me that he was gonna fight this fight for a title. I said, all right, well, give me a shot if you get that title. He looked back at me and was like, too big. I said, oh man, I'm too big now. Man, it's crazy because they're trying to, I don't know if you heard, but Floyd at one point tried to pay $250 grand to fight Rolando and Ryan Garcia. I'm the same stature and height and makeup as Ryan Garcia. He not too tall and he not too big, you know, but it's okay. I'll just be patient because my platform is growing, and they're going to have to come see me. And, you know, he got a blessing and a gift his last fight. And a lot of people know that, and they seen it. So, again, you know, the proof is in the pudding over here. So I'll just be patient. That's all I can say. Go ahead. More questions.
Do you feel that you are high risk, low reward for these guys?
That's exactly why I'm not fighting who, when, and where I want to fight. Is because, you know, I'm kind of just still in my father's shadow. You know, if you look at some of the videos I put up, or if you even know a little bit about him, you know, he was really willing to fight anywhere on any terms, under any circumstances. And that's me now, you know, to where I'm proving myself, but at the same time, I'm not $1 million fighter yet. So when you say, you know, low reward, high risk, yes, you know, that is part of my lineage, from me to my brother to my dad. So, but we are slowly breaking that, and we're having more of platform and more recognition than we ever did, thanks to technology. And if we keep winning, I keep doing my job, I'll be right there.
You mentioned that your profile is growing. You've certainly been a bit more vocal on social media than you have been before. You say the names that you want to fight aren't looking to fight you. Who are those names? Do you want to share on who? Have you offered fights to people when they said no? Obviously, as we know, it's not fighters directly. Fighters will fight anybody. Generally, is the case. It's more the teams.
Right. You know, anybody in my lane, in my weight class, I really want the head honcho, the very, 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 very top. And then I'm trying to go jump up and keep doing that, you know, as long as I can. So anybody who's really there, like I said, you know, the Ramirez's and Maurice Hooker's still up there. And, you know, even those 35 guys, I'm willing to jump down, because I really fight I campaign at 40. But my last time I fought probably 2 or 3 times at 40, and that was my first time. So after having done it my last fight, I've stepped on the scale and ate like 2 meals and was still, you know, good at 40. So I'm like, I could tap down to 35, you know, for a title or something. So it's like anything from tank to Devin, to anybody from 135 to 147. If there's a real opportunity for me to get a belt, and you know, I need you know, a belt or something. I need a strap now. You know, I'm number 13 in 40, so I'm trying to jump up or down. You know, hello. Oh, I think we cut. Okay, my bad. I'm willing to jump up or down, you know, from 35 to 47 to get any type of recognition on any type of level. So I just know there'll be space and opportunity when I can do that, and I just gotta sit back and just stay focused.
I spoke to Bones Adams a few weeks back, and he said the same thing about the weights. He feels you can go down to 135. He felt you're 2 or 3 fights away from challenging even Lomachenko. So clearly, there's belief in your ability with yourself and with Bones. And you mentioned there
Yes.
yourself. You mentioned Tank, Devin Haney. Do you feel you're ready for them now?
Lomachenko specifically, yes. Only reason being is because he's very exceptionally gifted, but I think my stature, what he did to Rigondeaux, when Rigondeaux and Lomachenko fought, Rigondeaux's skill level is so up to par, but Rigondeaux still got suppressed because he was a smaller, his dimensions, his stature. He couldn't really keep up with somebody who was as long, as tall, and still had all the agility and all the speed. So it's like he's a little quicker than me because he's a little smaller than me, but I've understand, since I'm not the quickest fighter, my length and timing will be able to suppress people's quickness. And for me, like I said, I just think I have a very good jab, and I'm very lengthy. And like I said, they call me the Deontay Wilder of the 35, I guess. Besides, I can box with it though. So, man, I haven't been hurt yet. So and Lomachenko, he got some power, but it'll be a tough night. So I just cannot wait. I'm 28. I just can't wait. I cannot wait. That's all. I can't wait.
You mentioned about your height. Essentially, you are. If you was to go down to 135, especially, you would be big for the weight. How
Right,
much
right.
of
Yes,
a
sir.
how much of a benefit would that be to you against these top guys at the weight?
Man, with everything, there's two sides to everything. So it will be a good benefit, but then there are, you know, the bad sides to it. I don't really like fighting those smaller guys. You know, it's a little bit more difficult because you have their motor runs different than a taller guy. But you know, I'm really comfortable with them now. But the big advantage that I will get is just my length. And then some people don't, I have some muscle to my lengthness, and I can actually, you know, I got a little Tommy Hearns right hand. So I should be running through these dudes. You know, a lot of them are tough, but I just think I'll be so overwhelmingly big and long that it'll be hard for somebody to really get in. And then, you know, at the end of the day, I'm a freak of nature in that division. So, you know, if I just stay smart and just box and use my IQ with it, I can scrape up that whole division.
Now, we've spoken over text message the last few weeks about a potential fight date. Can you shed any light on when you're hopefully back in the ring next?
November. I'm trying to get one in before November, though. November here, Las Vegas or California, for sure. I really want Malik Hawkins on there. I have some money I'm going to throw at him. And I heard one of his interviews. I got to see him, or he got to see me at one point. So I thought that the beef was not alive. So when I heard that interview, I was kind of like, all right, yeah, let's get it. You know, because
you were scheduled to fight Malik Hawkins, wasn't you, beforehand?
yeah, and then I won. Since he pulled out, I won on my fight, and then I still try to see what's good with him. Like, yo, you know, I'm still willing to give you an opportunity. And on social media, he said he either fights for status or money. And he says my status isn't higher than his, and I guess maybe the money wasn't there. And then I turned around. Really, I'm 13 and number 140. I don't know where he's at right now. So I was like, all right, well, for status, well, then I'm actually getting funded money. How much money would you need to make the fight happen? Ignore me on social media, man. So it's like, now I heard, I don't know, something might have sparked something, but I heard in an interview after that he's still trying to, the beef is still alive. So I'm like, you'll be hearing something real soon about me egging Malik Hawkins on again, because that's checkmate over here.
If you do fight before November, will you fight in November as well? Are you looking for 2 fights before the end of the year?
Yes, I'm trying to get in what I can fit in this year, really.
So Malik Hawkins is obviously the main target. Is there any other names that you're looking at potentially fighting?
Rolando right now, because they keep pushing him. And again, like, I have text messages of him ducking me, when he was 9-0, 10-0. So he's high priority because they bought him his strap. And like, you can't do that. The other kid was 19-0. I didn't really know too much about him. You cannot do that. He worked to get into that position. He worked, sacrificed very hard. And in that fight, he thought he was winning. He understood he was winning. Rolando felt in his heart, he asked, when you look back on the tape, you look, are we winning? He knew he felt like he was getting beat in that corner. You cannot do that to a young kid who's 19-0, worked all their whole entire life to get to that stage and to keep his zero, and to just rob the man like that. That's fucked up. Excuse my language, but man, that I really felt bad for that kid. So that, and then I already had some type of underlying history of what Rollie. So now, since he got a strap that somebody gifted to him, I want to take that from him now, and I'll be egging him on. I'll be in his face for a while now. Like, come on, what's happening? So Rolando and Malik Hawkins, I want these two on my wall very soon. Those are my two ones. And
I heard it here first, straight from your mouth there. You weren't those two. Let's move on very finally to your brother, Michael. Michael Hunter, of course, heavyweight. When's he looking at getting out again?
Man, same thing, November. Really, November, I can't say anything before November for him. You have to really hear it from him. But November, it's actually supposed to be the Hunter Brothers show. Again, don't tell too many people, but, well, actually, I'll expose it. We're supposed to be trying to, on our own terms, getting our own show off the ground. So given that happens, you'll be seeing me and my brother finally being able to, we need our own show between me and him. And I've fought on a main event, and, he's fought on a very high platform. So for me to fight on with my older brother, it's a dream come true, and it will be November, is what we're looking at right now. If anything changes, you're going to hear it from me first. But November, me and Michael, me and my brother, we'll be, throwing a whole show.
Have you both shared a show before?
Pardon?
Have you both fought on the same shows before?
No. There was actually multiple times we were supposed to. And then for some reason, it's always one of my opponents pulled out, one of his opponents pulled out, or vice versa, or both our opponents. So, no, I have not. This will actually be the first time still. And then it'll be better because it'll be on our terms. Before, it was kind of like, we're under, promoters and giving up parts of ourselves and percentages and, the boxing, to where it's a little bit more different when, we don't have parts of ourselves taken out of us, and we have more freedom to do what we want, so that's the big key right there.
We've spoken about yourself being a bit avoided. Let's talk about Michael being avoided. He's a dangerous heavyweight. Nobody really wants to have any part of him. How frustrating is that for him? Obviously, in the heavyweight division, everyone says, it's the money division. It's where you get paid. How frustrating is it for him to not get these fights that he wants?
Man, It's frustrating only due to time, because that's one thing that um, is our biggest enemy, I guess, at a certain point, is being idle, is losing time because we're sitting on the shelves because we're being, avoided. And we're healthy and we actually have longevity. We don't have too much mileage. Well, he has a little bit more of a pedigree in the amateur than me. So he has a little bit, and he's a little bit older, but he's so raw, talentedly gifted, and still has so much life left in him that he's going to keep winning. And at some point, there, he's already top 4. So, man, it sucks. I hate for my brother to have to be avoided like this, because we don't really get that moment. He doesn't get that moment that he really deserves, But again, for my brother, he's sitting patient, doing his job and laser focused. So he's already fought, and with Tyson Fury in the amateurs. He's fought alongside with Deontay Wilder in the Olympics, and so they know each other. They like, when he looks at these people with all these heavyweights in their eyes, he has a different type of respect level from these guys. So when it gets to a true moment of fighting, he's gonna get a really good shot real soon. So I hate to be long-winded, but that's that.
Perfect. Keith, we look forward to seeing you both out in November, potentially even before then. But thank you for your time and speaking to pro boxing fans.
Man, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you always holding me down. It means a lot. Appreciate you.